Labour Party has condemned Saturday's by-elections across 16 states, describing the exercise as a setback to Nigeria's democratic process. In a statement by Ken Asogwa, media aide to acting national chairman, Senator Nenadi Osman, the party alleged widespread irregularities, including vote buying, violence, and poor transparency. The Labour Party argued that the elections fell short of democratic standards, citing incidents of voter intimidation and logistical lapses in states such as Kaduna, Anambra, Ogun, Oyo, and Kano. He warned that if the Independent Electoral Commission could not manage smaller off-season polls transparently, confidence in its ability to conduct the 2027 general elections would be undermined. The party called on President Bola Tinubu to safeguard electoral integrity, stressing that public trust in democratic institutions was vital for national stability. While INEC has yet to respond to the allegations, the Commission earlier described the by-elections as largely peaceful despite isolated disruptions. What do you make of this statement by Labour Party, Aiba?
Yes, I wouldn't expect less from them because they lost. If they have won, they would have commend. But now that they lost, yes, it is normal that they will criticize as an opposition party. So it is not new. You know, you cannot expect to win an election where you don't have structure, where you are not prepared. All they are after is just to unseat President Tinubu come 2027. You know, some of these political parties are just being popular because of probably one man and just that they want to have something from, because in every election I learned that INEC gives something for election and all that. So their focus is on social media, how to talk down a government, how to criticize, and forgetting that for you to win an election, you must be rooted in the grassroots. So their statement is not new, it's not surprising. It is a statement coming from people that have lost the election.
But then the integrity of INEC has always been under question and scrutiny, not just by Nigerians, but by international communities. Could you remind me of one election that has been conducted in Nigeria by INEC and was largely commended? Just give me one example.
Lanisha, you are a Nigerian, and by the grace of God, you've been in this country for a very long time.
And I've observed elections as well.
Observed election. You know, those conducting elections are not angels. Yes, they are not angels. So you will not expect that in INEC we have it 100%. No. But what I will not take is that INEC is not trying. Yes, people have been criticizing INEC probably based on how they have been, conducting election and all that, but give it to Nigerians that even if it is angels that come down to Nigeria to conduct election, they will still criticize.
The question is, can you remind me of one credible elections in this country since MKO Abdul Aga?
The question should be that, are there any improvements?
No, I asked what I asked. I didn't ask of improvements.
No, because
I asked if there have been credible elections in this country.
If you say that there have not been any credible elections, at least we agree with you, but at least from what we have seen so far.
If you agree with me that we've not had credible elections, you're not agreeing with me. I just asked the question. I didn't make a statement though. No. But if you're saying that in your answer that we've not had credible elections, will you now discredit the position of the Labour Party?
What I'm saying is that INEC has exhibited some level of improvements in their conduct of elections.
What variables, what indices did you consider in arriving at that conclusion?
Fine. In the time past, before the reforms, we've been seeing some sort of, political parties and talks hijacking materials, cutting away materials, and recording large scale of violence.
Didn't that happen in 2023?
I'm coming,
Go
Laurentia.
ahead.
I'm coming. In 2023, it was less because of the technology they employed. It was less, yes, compared to before. I don't know about but in Rivers State, it was less. During the voting, not during the campaigns. During the voting, it was less. There was nowhere we saw people cutting away materials, ballot boxes, and all that. No, it didn't happen.
You mean in Rivers State?
So
for Rivers State.
So INEC should be commended. Even in Nigeria, there was no way I heard that materials, ballot boxes were cutted away. So INEC should be commended for the reform so far.
That was why I asked you, are you speaking for Rivers State? And I was really hoping you would only limit it to Rivers State. But now you now say the entire Nigeria. And on that, I will disagree 100%. Okay. Because in Lagos State, for example, Igbos in some local governments, in some wards, were denied their rights to vote. And the people that did that were fingered. In fact, it was captured on video, and it gave rise to widespread national condemnation. I recall an actress, Kate Henshaw, recorded what happened in her own unit. She recorded it live. At some point, she was attacked, and she had to run for her life. Some other people jumped on that trend, also went to their unit and wanted to run and they were recording. And these things happened. People watched it unfold. There was a woman who was attacked. In fact, one of her face was bandaged. After being taken to the hospital, treated, she still came back to that the same place where violence was meted on her and insisted that she was going to vote with blood-stained bandage all over her face. And she became the face of 2023 elections, I recall very, very candidly. There were people who were caught on video. They were beaten, who came with bags of money. They were beaten, the bags of money were taken, shared among people who still went back to vote. So these were incidents that were, they are actual incidences that happened. There are actually the actual incidences that happened. So when you say these things never happened,
no, listen to me. Listen to me.
You said you did witness it in Nigeria.
Listen to Lanosha. There is no way you will attribute conflicts, pockets of conflict between political parties, supporters of candidates to INEC. For conducting election in Nigeria, INEC has recorded some level of improvement.
So you're saying that
those pockets of violence, some pockets of violence that we witnessed during the 2013 elections were between political parties, supporters of political parties, and I think, by the grace of God, those are the things that we expect our security agencies to handle going forward, ensuring that those things don't happen again. Those things don't happen again, because those are the things that we also scare voters from voting. But for INEC and conduct of elections, I think I give it to them.
Now, one would say, when you say they are not related to INEC, now the question would be were results declared in these words and units where these incidences happened? If yes, that INEC declared results of the units where incidences of clear disenfranchisement happened, incidences of ballot snatching happened, incidents of disruption of the electoral process by thugs happened, incidences where there were violence if these places had their results declared. Then I'm trying so hard to understand how INEC is not culpable.
Laurentia, I don't think voting processes were disrupted in areas that election were announced, because
were you all over the country?
No, I'm coming. I have my reasons. I'm coming because there are, devices that accredit voters to vote in every elections. And in this, if a particular polling unit, for instance, has 500 voters accredited to vote, and more than half to 400 have voted, you won't expect INEC to, cancel that election or not to announce the winner of the election. What I'm saying, Laurentia, INEC is not responsible for any violence recorded in a polling unit. The political party does, because it is these people, out of their passion for their party and what they intend to gain or whatever, that can result to crisis in that particular unit, should not be blamed under INEC, the umpire.
Now, what you're saying appears to be quite different from the point I'm making. The point I'm making is this: electoral violence is part of electoral crime. True or false?
I'm hearing you.
Is violence part of electoral crime during the elections, particularly within the polling unit? Is it a crime? It's an electoral crime. Disenfranchising people, is it a crime? It's an hold on. Whether it is perpetrated by political parties or thugs hired by political parties, even makes it even more of electoral malpractice and a crime. Now, the question is, if certain polling units experienced this violence, experienced this crime, and to a large extent it was caught on camera, people coming with cash to buy votes. It was caught on camera that there were clear violence where people were the people who came to exercise their franchise, they were attacked. And you're telling me because 200 people voted as against 300 registered voters in the world, it should be announced 200 people of what party? And what other party? The other people that were dispersed from the same polling unit, who were they? What party were they voting for? Now, if INEC declares the result of that polling unit, is INEC not culpable? Now, on the flip side, if there are consequences for actions or misdemeanors like this by political parties, probably INEC cancelling the results of that ward or of that polling unit, then don't you think that political parties will know that there will be consequences? So when they play this kind of game, they would definitely completely lose out of possible votes from that polling unit, because INEC is going to cancel it. So when you say that this is as a result of, yes, I understand that security agencies have a role to play in arresting these people and possible prosecution. The question I'm asking is the enabling position of INEC in situations like this. Why go ahead to call elections or to accept elections from troubled polling units? That's the question.
Laurentia, in a polling unit where violence is said to be recorded, and people that have voted is more than people that did not vote, and saying that even if the election is conducted again, those that didn't vote, if they should come to vote, will not be up to the vote that has been cast already. Do you expect INEC to come there or cancel election and do a rerun?
It has happened. It has happened in Nigeria.
I'm coming.
It has happened in Nigeria.
Even when the votes you are expecting will not even match up with the vote
that
has been declared.
In Nigeria.
No, we are developing. Russia, Nigeria is developing. And INEC is also improving. What I expect our political parties to do, sensitize your followers. Because those that causes problem in polling unit most times are people that are not on ground, just to disrupt the process.
So where is thuggery and skullduggery coming from?
We are saying the same thing. People that are not on ground, we ensure that the process is being disrupted. So our political parties should ensure that they sensitize their followers, ensure that the process is peaceful. INEC himself need to be protected.
Now, one would say, let me give you an instance again. Yeah, and this happened in Imo State, by the way, when elections were conducted. I think it was Ikedio Hakim that was the governor of Imo State, and there was this overwhelming and overbearing power of incumbency that played out during that time because Ikedio Hakim wanted to return for second tenure. And at that time, I remember very vividly that Imo people were already tired of the high-handedness and misrule of Ikedio Hakim at the time. And but then power of incumbency came, pockets of violence, election, vote buying, and all of that happened. And at the end of the day, the results were called. I recall that Rochas Okorocha then was a known philanthropist, and he was running against Ikedio Hakim. And Imo people felt that their choice was Rochas Okorocha and not Ikedio Hakim. And guess what? Imo State University students stormed the streets. Women went half naked, protesting. The youths, the old, everybody entered the streets. From Mbise to Imo State to Olo, it was a voice of the people that spoke. And guess what happened? There was a rerun. And this time around, the election was closely monitored, and it was seen to be credible. It was seen to be free and to be fair. And the people voted and defended their votes. And guess what? Ikedio Hakim, who had won election, by a very substantial margin, after the re-election, Rochas Okorocha won by a landslide. So now, when you say that, but then, what the point I'm trying to make is this. There was electoral malpractice, yet INEC declared the results. That is why I asked, is INEC culpable? Are they enablers? INEC declared the results. And if Imo people didn't storm the streets and insisted that the right thing be done, probably Ikedio Hakim would have finished his second tenure, and he would have claimed that he won. And of course, there will be a case of go to court, and then your guess is as good as mine. But this was the people insisting that the right thing would be done. And INEC finally did the right thing, and the votes of the people counted, and the votes of the people spoke. That's why I said, now, even though, according to you, INEC is doing so well, amazingly well, I am looking at possible culpability by even accepting results from polling units where it is clear that some things were not right. Do you understand the point I'm making? So saying that 300 people voted and the people that did not vote, I'm trying to make it make sense to me.
What I was trying to let you understand is,
yes,
INEC cannot cancel election where out of 500, 400 have voted, or 450 have voted, and the remaining voters cannot make up the results that's already announced. The incident you cited was a clear statement I made here that it is only he who is not on ground that will sponsor violence. You said here that Rochas Okorocha was on ground, the people wanted him, and mind you, most of these returning officers are not INEC staff.
They're ad hoc staff.
Yes, they're not INEC staff. So what I'm trying to say that If INEC sees a strong ground where election should be cancelled, they will do that. They will do that. And that was what played out in Imo State, as you rightly cited.
You're right.
Yes.